Matter, I will kindly request you that you stay outside. All these people are involved in one fight.
Most of these are journalists.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Half of the room is full of journalists.
Okay. Okay. Fine. Before we proceed, I apologize on behalf of the court. I guess, Alan, you will apologize on behalf of the prosecution. We've had to keep you waiting this morning, and we are not entirely at fault. The DPP, DCI, they have been putting in place a mechanism to do everything online. So even we've not begun doing pleas because they have to be put online. So you will bear with us. I was here some minutes earlier. Some of you are not here. So just bear with us. It's really beyond us. But we'll try as much as possible to see how we can serve all of you. Maybe you can begin with whichever has so many people so that we can begin clearing the court. Yeah, just begin with the file that has so many people. Just
6, 7, 8, 9 speak about the first respondent. I've already indicated that the second respondent is only mentioned in paragraph 15 of the motion and paragraph 10 of the affidavit. As related to the CCTVs, my learned colleague says that if the first respondent is allowed to enjoy his liberty during investigation, he will interfere with the same. Your Honor, decline that invitation. The CCTVs are already in lawful custody of the police and other relevant authorities. How will the second respondent possibly interfere with what is in the custody of the Kenya police? How? I pose rhetorically. That argument must collapse on its own weight. Your Honor is also informed that the other reason why they want them held is because there is a firearm which has not been examined. Once again, that firearm is with the relevant authorities. How will they possibly interfere? How will the second respondent possibly interfere? You are then told in paragraph 17 of the motion, and Your Honor will have occasion to look at paragraph 17 to its full effect. But permit me to just highlight the things that are meant to be done. One, that the second respondent will be subjected to a mental assessment. That the firearm will be taken to a ballistic expert, and that the CCTVs will be reviewed, and that the deceased who is lying at a morgue has not been subjected to an autopsy. Your Honor, paragraph number 15, that relates to the second respondent. And it says that the firearm which is alleged to have been used to commit an offense belongs to him as a lawful licensee. Is described as a licensed firearm holder. That is in the notice of motion. The same is repeated in paragraph number 10 of the affidavit. of Sergeant Boyer, in which he said the firearm belongs to the second respondent, who is a licensed firearm holder. So when it is then said in submission and in the motion that the firearm disappeared mysteriously, it cannot possibly be true. It cannot possibly be true. Sergeant Boyer is an officer of the law, and he has sworn on oath that the second respondent is the lawful owner of the firearm which is in question. Your Honor has been told that the reason why the liberty of the second respondent is purported to be curtailed if the orders requested are granted are as follows. One, that there is a CCTV footage
None.
Thank you very much.
Your Honor, on behalf of the first respondent, I have instructions to oppose the application before you. It is brought by way of notice of motion, application which is undated, unsigned, and is allegedly supported by a hanging affidavit dated 24th August 2020. The same has been brought under Article 49 of the Constitution. And Your Honor, it's my humble submission that 39 of the Constitution clearly states the rights of an arrestee. And it's very clear on the face of those provisions that it is the right of an arrested person to be released on bail, either by the police or by the court, as the law provides. That particular provision does not contemplate detention of an arrestee who is a Kenyan with fixed abode, and who has throughout, as stated in the affidavit supporting the application, cooperated from the inception. In fact, going by the affidavit of the deponent of this affidavit, from the 22nd, when he presented himself to make a report at Kilimani police station, is the day he was arrested. And he has been cooperating with the police, and it is very clear in this matter, Your Honor, that investigations in this matter began immediately. That is the wording of paragraph 14 of the affidavit in support of this application. Going by the numbers of the days, we have 3 clear days that the police have been investigating this matter, or for that respect, the inspector who has deponed before court, that has been doing that investigation. The law is very clear that if an arrested person is to be detained, there has to be compelling reasons for detaining this arrested person. I've heard from the learned prosecutor that there's a fear that my client here would interfere with investigations. He has himself defined facts here. There is no interfering with investigation from inception. There's no mention at all. We are told that there are other witnesses who we don't know that he may interfere with. Your Honor, the court cannot act in vain. And it's very clear that in this particular case, it is the accused person who assisted them even. It is not in the custody of the first respondent. The allegations or the reasons that have been put forward for denying the accused person their liberties, which is also enshrined in the same constitution that they seek these particular orders from, protects the liberty of the accused person or the respondent. What is being said here that taking fingerprints, since the accused persons presented themselves before court has been submitted by my learned colleague. Your Honor, it is sad to note that no fingerprints have been taken after 3 days. The accused persons who are in police custody, their samples have not been taken to the government chemist, if that is what they intend to do. If the firearm is already with the police, how is the accused person going to interfere with the report from the ballistic expert? That is the question you need to put to yourself, Your Honor, as you sit down to give a ruling in this particular application. It's worth noting, Your Honor, that the application seeks that the investigations that are going on in respect of a murder case, there's no other charges that they're saying they've already formed an opinion that there's a murder case that this first respondent is going to be charged with. The issue of CCTV footage, Your Honor, my learned colleague candidly put it that these are investigations that can be taken with the relevant authorities without even the interference of the case, because there's no way the accused persons are going to interfere with government agencies who are conducting an investigation into a murder trial. Humble submission that the application before you does not meet the threshold to deny accused person who is a Kenyan citizen his liberty. What the Constitution says is on reasonable conditions when they are compelling reasons. No compelling reason has been advanced before you to detain the accused person any further. And Your Honor, it's my humble submission that you do have the discretion to give out conditions under which the accused person can present themselves before the relevant authorities for interrogation or for further interrogation by the authorities, Your Honor. And those orders can rightly be given by the court so that their liberties are not constrained. The first respondent is a family man. He has 2 children and a wife who he provides for. And since his arrest and detention for the last 2 days, he's not been able to provide for them. merely on allegations of being involved into an alleged murder. What is before you are allegations which have not been proved, and we urge the court, with due respect to relatives and friends of the departed soul, we are very sorry and are very apologetic for what might have happened on that particular day. For those reasons, Your Honor, I would urge you to set the first respondent free and give terms as to his appearance for further investigation.
John OUKO and Chris Philip OBURE.
So, Your Honor, before you start,
Yes.
I just want to raise an issue.
Yes.
I don't know, I've seen some minors in court and the media is here, so I hope the media will not maybe take on any of their photos when they are going to edit, because I can see, I don't know if they are minors,
Okay.
and the media is in this place.
Okay. I think.
For the first respondent, Mr. Kennedy Arum.
President John.
My name is Piero LUMUMBA. I will appear with Caroline Odur and Jemima Aluda for the second respondent in this notice of motion. Thank you.
So where are the respondents? Where is
Yeah, present.
no photo? They are the respondents.
To sincerely apologize to the court and my learned seniors as well as the respondents
Yes.
for starting late. It's because we had a challenge in that we were going the online way in terms of filing miscellaneous applications and pleas. So we wish to sincerely tender our apologies. Your Honor, what is before you is a notice of motion dated.
Yes, with your Honor's motion here in court at 10 a.m. in the morning. We were served before it was even registered with the registry in this court.
Yes.
That notwithstanding, we are all of the considered view that we can actually urge this matter viva voce on our part. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Mobere.
You know, the notice of motion dated 21st day of August 2020, supported by an affidavit of one Sergeant Bashir Goya, attached to Kilimani PCI. You know, the gist of our application is to move this court to have the respondents to be held for a period of 14 days.
Just a minute. I'm trying to get the name of
To be held for a period of 14 days. This is so, Your Honor, to enable the police to conclude their investigations. You know, the application is premised on Article 49, Sub-Article 1G and H of the Constitution, which provides that if the arresting agency so wish to hold an accused person beyond the stipulated days of, or rather hours of beyond 24 hours, we ought to move the court and further furnish the court with reasons within which they seek to hold the suspects. You know, in the present matter, the issue at play is a case of murder, which allegedly took place on the 21st day of August 2020 in Kilimani sub-county within Nairobi County, and thereafter culminated to the arrest of the first respondent, that is on the 22nd day of August 2020. The second respondent was also arrested on the 22nd day of August 2020. And 22nd day of August 2020. And due to the short period within which they were arrested, the police could not be able to conclude the investigations. It is alleged that the weapon that was used was a firearm. That is registered with the second respondent. However, the person who had physical custody at the time when the offense was committed was the first respondent. It's also within the public domain that there was a CCTV footage that captured the first respondent entering and exiting the fixed place of abode of the deceased, which has been taken to the cybercrime unit of the National Police Service for analysis. And we are yet to get a feedback. Also, Your Honor, I'm informed by the IO that they also retrieved CCTV footage which shows the entry and exit of the vehicles entering into the fixed place of abode of the deceased, which has also been forwarded to the cybercrime unit for analysis, and we are yet to get a report. I'm also informed that the firearm in question that was used to commit the offense was released in mysterious circumstances that are yet to be ascertained.
Released to
It is not known how it was released to the second respondent, yet it was subject to an ongoing investigation, which I'm not privy to. So that angle is also yet to be covered. I'm also informed, Your Honor, that post-mortem in respect to the body of the deceased is currently being conducted, and we are also yet to get feedback of the scene. I'm also informed that the two suspects are also yet to undergo mental examination, which is paramount in offenses of a nature that has been levied against the two. I'm also informed, Your Honor, that there were other witnesses who were present at the material time when the offense was being committed, allegedly by the first respondent, and the IO is apprehensive that there would be interference since they are well known to them. And as such, they are also praying for those days to enable them to gather written statements of the said witnesses to get their version of the events that took place on the material night. Your Honor, I'm also informed that the firearm that was used to commit the offense was allegedly hid in an office belonging to the second respondent. Hid. Hence the reason why he is a person of interest.
the office of the second respondent.
Yes. Hence the reason why he's a person of interest. And also noting the fact that the firearm was registered under him. It is for those reasons that the IO has moved this court, seeking 14 days within which charges shall be preferred against the accused person after obtaining sufficient evidence, or if there is a lack of sufficient evidence, they may be released. That will be all of now.
The prosecutors are so presumptuous that they have even drafted an order of the court, granting orders which they anticipate that you will make. I've never seen this before, but you'll see it because I think it's in the court file. Order of the court, dated 24th August, and the only place where they leave is a place where they'll insert the number of days during which you'll detain the first respondent and the second respondent, and where the court will sign. I've never ever seen anything so presumptuous. My Lord, this kind of application, and I dare say conduct by an officer of the court, is completely reprehensible. That is all I wish to observe as an officer of the court. Thank you very much.
This is the application, Mr. Mogera.
You're not briefly in respect to the submissions made by my landlord. I wish the court to take judicial notice that when the accused, or rather the suspects were arrested, it fell on a weekend, and no meaningful investigations can take place in terms of either the CCTV footage being analyzed or ballistic examination being conducted on the firearm in question. On the issue raised by my seniors on our application not being dated, as I indicated, Your Honor, we have now ventured into filing applications online, and I believe if given a chance, we can get to see the signed copies that have been filed online. On the issue raised as to the link or the second respondent in this particular matter, would note that a firearm was used. And the firearm in question, as rightly put by my learned senior, is held by the second respondent as the rightful license holder. In that regard, Your Honor, that cannot be wished away. And as indicated, what is before court is mere allegations. We are yet to do meaningful investigations. And Your Honor, it will not be prudent for us to levy charges against the suspects without having proper documentation to buttress the charges that would be preferred, if any, to the suspects in court. Your Honor, our application, as I indicated, is premised on Article 49, Sub-Article 1G and H, which provides that we ought to furnish the court with sufficient reasons within which we think the liberty of a suspect should be curtailed. And Your Honor, as indicated earlier on, the second respondent, or rather the first respondent, was present when the offense occurred, and there were witnesses who are commonly known to him, as well as the deceased. In that regard, Your Honor, we are strongly apprehensive that he might interfere, since there are persons well known to him. And Your Honor, the offense allegedly committed by the suspect is not a matter that should be trivialized. A life was lost. A fact which has attracted a lot of public interest, and Your Honor, would ask the court to grant the prayers to enable us to conclude investigations, meaningful investigations, which can either exonerate or prefer charges against the suspect. That would be all now.
If we will have begun, if we will have begun court in time, I'll have issued this ruling today. But because I have not had the benefit of reading what you guys have read, I'll read. We'll give this ruling tomorrow. We can agree on the time, so that that is that today people kept around for a very long time. What time is good?
It's the afternoon, so that your Honor has time. In the afternoon, say at 2:30.
It's okay. I'm okay.
The room says 3.
No, let's begin with 3. Maybe 2 or 2:30.
Okay. 2:30, Your Honor.
Okay.
I was saying that because I'm going to lock it, but that's enough time for me to try.
And in any event, it's a ruling, even if it's not there.
So ruling tomorrow, I suspect tomorrow is 25th?
It is indeed
25th of August 2020 at 2 p.m. Accept?
Most obliged.
Okay. I guess the court will be a little bit empty, but you're at liberty, the journalist. You're at liberty to sample. Okay.